We'd have those tough conversations with franchise owners saying, I can't do this or I can't do that. The marketing's terrible or this is terrible or that's terrible. But you're boots on the ground. So you should be out doing these things organically.
Something that is wrong in your life and you say it's everyone else's fault but yours, you're never going to fix it. You're literally giving all your power to something else. Tammi, what's up?
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
So it's your first ever podcast?
Ever first podcast. This is very cool.
It's so funny because for us, when we started franchising, our marketing company, Moon Mission, was like, you should start a podcast. And I was like, ugh. It was like the year that everyone was starting a podcast. And I didn't want to do it. And it's turned out to be really fun. I have a hard time believing you haven't been on one with all your experience, but.
No, I have not. But I've listened to plenty. I've registered for many, I guess, when you get on there and like them, and then I keep getting reels. Even with yours, obviously, I get to listen to them. I listen to one probably or two on my way here every day because it does take me a long time to get here in the morning. So I get to listen to your podcast.
Sorry you have to endure that, but I'm glad that you do.
Not as bad as it sounds because I get to kind of have my own little free time.
That's right. Yeah. Well, if you've listened to them, you know how this works. So did you bring a dad joke? I think you said you have a mom joke.
I have mom
Are those worse
jokes.
Or better than dad
jokes? Well, I mean,
jokes?
it's even, and it's even kind of in the exercise realm, which I think we'll see how it hits.
Let's see. If it hits horribly, it's perfect.
Right. Okay. My favorite exercise is a cross between a lunge and a crunch. Do you know what that exercise is?
I think I do, but tell me.
I like to call it lunch.
Wait, if you're a mom, isn't it brunch?
Oh, brunch. Yeah, but there's no B. So what am I going to do? I'd have to change my lunge and crunch to something with a BR. So.
Speaking about mom jokes, did you hear about the lady that ate a frog? Did you hear about her?
I did not.
Yeah. They said she might croak.
Wow. That was good. That was a good one.
Anytime I get a wow, it's really bad.
Yeah. Aren't they just supposed to be stupid? Like
they're
not supposed to be funny.
They
right?
are.
I mean, funny, but stupid. Yeah.
Right. Tammi is relatively new to our group, but certainly not new to franchising. So tell everyone how you got into franchising, just your backstory, maybe the brands that you've worked with and the roles that you had in the past.
Franchising, I've worked for a company called Neighborly. So I don't know if many people know what Neighborly is, but Neighborly is the umbrella that the company that I worked for was under. They had about 17 different brands. So maybe ones you've heard of, Mr. Handyman, Molly Maids, Roto-Rooter, ones in that kind of, all the Misters, Mr. Handyman, there's a bunch of different Misters. Shelf Genie was one of those, and that's who I worked for. So Shelf Genie was acquired by Neighborly. And when that happened 7 or 8 years ago, we were able to really kind of take over that franchise business coach world. Neighborly's real big on franchise business coaching. It's a huge thing that they do with their franchises. Their franchisees that's what comes in there with their FDD. They get a franchise business coach as part of the world of their franchise. And it's a big help to obviously the franchise owners. Shelf Genie got to kind of jump on that a little bit. And we were flown out to learn and learn the whole world of franchise business coaching and what it's all about. Why isn't it so important to have a coach? I mean, just like a football team, a basketball team,
right?
Your team needs a coach, right? I mean, you can do all the things, but we're here to kind of just coach you along. And even as a coach, I am coaching, or we're learning to coach them the right way to do it, compliance and, how to move the needle, which is our important thing, but we're also their biggest cheerleader. So I want you to be successful.
Right.
So we're out there learning all that. So a lot of training and a lot of fun went into it. But the more I was in it and understanding it and being out there with franchises, with Shelf Genie, I actually ran our corporate owned locations. So any location that either maybe failed and the franchise owner walked away, or once their contract was up, ours were 5-year contracts. Once that contract was up, if they didn't sell it, I would take it over. Right. So I would take it over until we could sell it again. So I became the franchise owner.
So you were essentially the owner. Right. Even though you represented corporate, you represented corporate as the owner. As the owner. Yep. So I did all the things. How many territories did you manage that way?
That was my first role. When I first came there, I was the corporate market manager. I was running all the corporate locations. And then we became the franchise business coach. So then I was able to learn the franchise business coaching part of it.
Right.
So essentially being able to coach myself on the franchise owning part. So I was like, oh, wow, I already was the acting franchise owner. Now I'm learning how to be the coach of that franchise owner. Right. So it was neat to kind of play it first. I played the role of the franchise owner first, honestly, without being the franchise owner. The difference is it's not my money. I got to play with corporate money, obviously, but I still had to do all the things.
Mechanisms are the same, right?
Right. I had to meet numbers.
Right. To have a territory be successful, you have to grow the business.
I had to have those measurables as well. So I had KPIs that I had to meet, or what kind of credibility do I have? Like if I can't even run this business that I want to act like a franchise owner, how can we sell them? And how can I be a coach to somebody if I can't do it myself?
Do you think it gave you more street cred moving from actually in the same seat as the people you were coaching when you moved into franchise business coach?
It helped
because if it was like, well, this is, you got to get out and market and here's the 3 channels that we find to be successful. And it's like, well, I tried that and it didn't work. You're like, well, that's not true actually, because and I think if I understand you right, there was some point where you were doing both. You were a franchise business coach and you were doing turnarounds on territories, managing teams in far away markets, not even in your market. So like, you're managing people in Kentucky or wherever that may be, right? Yep. And you're based here in Atlanta. It's like, that had to be really tough, but I do often think about what the advantage would be. It's like, no, I literally just did this in market and I live in Atlanta and I'm running a territory as an owner in Kentucky. These things work. I just did them, right? That's a different conversation than theoretical ideas or what have you. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And it would be, we'd have those tough conversations with franchise owners saying, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or you guys want us to do this and we can't do this, or the marketing's terrible, or this is terrible, or that's terrible. And I'm like, I get it, but you're boots on the ground, right? So you should be out doing these things organically. Get out there. I'm doing it from Atlanta, flying to this location once a month to do boots on the ground. So I could do a 3-day. I'd be there for, 3 days and try to get out and go talk to the Chamber of Commerce, be part of these things, show my face, but it was only once a month. And at the time, I'm running 7 different franchises. I was running 7 different locations.
And they're spread out.
And it's we had 125,000 owners, like per household, that was our territory. It was 120,000.
120,000 households.
Households per territory. So say I had a territory that had 7, or I had a location that had 7 territories. That's 120,000 times 7 that I'm needing to kind of go out and touch all these angles. It's not like one chamber of commerce. Like I'm in different zip codes and different, we'd have 120,000, so it was when they're telling me I can't do it, I'm saying, yes, you can. I'm doing it from afar. So I know you can do it from there.
Right.
Follow my lead. Just trust me.
Let's
do it together. And let me show you how to do it. If I
understand correctly, your track record was taking an abandoned or low performing territory and even from afar, you would grow it. And then sometimes you keep it corporately. Sometimes you might sell it to another franchisee or a new candidate. Once it was up to speed, it's much more attractive to buy, right? Is that true?
Yeah. So there was different ones. So ones that would come in and just buy a green territory or a green location, price point could be a little bit different. If you're coming and buying one that I've grown and all you have to come in and turn the key, because I have the staff.
Just run the play.
Yeah, just walk in the door. Right. I have everything going. I have marketing going. You're just going to take over the marketing I'm doing if you want to. Sure. It's up to you, but this is what I've been doing and this is what's working.
Right, yeah.
So you come in and you turn the key and here we go. You just can run the play, do it as you want now, but now, you followed my lead. And then now you take it and run with it. Where they're coming with the green territories, you're doing everything from the ground up. You're starting with your marketing. You have to find the staff. You have to do all the things. So that was the difference in being able to take one that I've already done it for. And don't get me wrong. I mean, there were some that just didn't work, and
Sure.
it was, could it be location? There were so many different variables that went into the why, but I wasn't 100% successful on the lower ones, but I was probably 75%. I got it to the point where we're going to be able to sell it and make the money. Did we keep a few? Yes, because that helped for corporate revenue. So then we got to keep that revenue and kind of do it. Plus the ones that we keep, that would hold credibility for myself. So we could test things. I could try marketing that I'm going to try to talk my franchise owners into using, but I can say, I tested it. I tried it. It worked. And we did the same thing with new technology, different things that we would try. We would try it in the corporate sides first. Let corporate's money try it. Let corporate's money test it. If it doesn't work, all right, we'll eat crow. We'll move on. Right. If it does, then we're going to push it out to the system.
That's the great thing about corporate locations.
Yeah.
They give you the opportunity to do that, which is why when you started here, you're like, hey, I'd like to work at the corporate location because of your experience with Shelf Genie, it's like, boy, I'd have a lot more street cred if I've done the thing, right? And you now are involved fractionally at that location. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And just to let everyone know, like I heard about you, which you know from Wes Barefoot, and I don't know Wes's wife. I've never met her, Kelly. So Wes and Kelly, I was talking to Wes. I've been on his podcast. He's been on mine a couple of times. I love Wes. He's a great dude. And he was like, hey, if you're ever looking for a franchise business coach, because they are Shelf Genie owners. So he's both a franchise consultant, and he and Kelly are franchisees of Shelf Genie and maybe another couple of concepts. But so he has a lot of exposure to franchising. And so he's saying, if you ever need a franchise business coach, this is the person you should look at. And you were his franchise business coach. And so I was like, I can't get a better nod than that. And thankfully you were in Atlanta and we talked a couple of times. I know we talked once, maybe a year ago, and we weren't ready. And then finally it all came together at the right time. So
and that's great. And Kelly being, the Barefoots, Wes and Kelly, they're one of our top 3 franchise owners in Shelf Genie. So
cool.
It's good to see and to be able to kind of transfer some of those things that I've learned as a franchise business coach with Shelf Genie to a franchise business coach at Alloy. I'm a franchise business coach. So I'm a coach for franchises, right? So it doesn't have to be where I had to come in with all this personal training background as far as, of course, fitness has always been my background. I worked in it for years, but no, I'm here to help coach the franchise owners to be better franchise owners and to move the needle and to move the revenue and do all the things, that we train on and do them to help them become good Alloy franchise owners. So being a Shelf Genie franchise business coach is kind of the same thing. It's a business, right? We're doing the same things. And just watching the two and what I've done in Shelf Genie and what I'm doing here, so many commonalities. There's so many of the same things.
Well, we always say we're in 2 businesses. There's the franchise business and there's the business of what we do in market. And certainly like, judging someone's shelving systems is completely different than personal training. We're in a subscription-based model, which is actually a huge advantage, by the way, versus like selling projects, right? Selling all the time. But at the same time, there's a lot of similarities, even though the thing we do in market is different. The mechanisms and the coaching and what needs to be done are similar. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because you have this breadth of experience. You've not only coached people to do it, you've actually done the thing. So you can even look inward to the thing I'm asking you, which is, we'll just keep it as a bucket of 3 to keep it short enough, because I'm sure there's a ton of information here. But if we had to say, what are the 3, and we can just knock them down, maybe character traits, maybe, I don't know, inherent habits, like what are the 3 things that you think are causal to make someone be a great franchisee of a system?
Yeah, and it's the same. Just even saying, how I had some same things with Shelf Genie. And we can talk about Kelly Barefoot, who you just brought up, and Wes and Kelly. It's her involvement in what she's doing with her team. So her being involved all the time and her treating the team as though they're family, she does not have a turnover. So I would say number 1 is turnover, right? So, it's the turnover of your team that if you're having this constant turnover, and especially even with us with directors, if you're going to have a constant turnover of directors, what does that look like to our members?
Yeah, I think we've always said, if you have high turnover, it tells your customers that something's broken in your business. Look, I'll just hit it head on, because I think the most important person that's responsible for that is the person that you see in the mirror. If you have a lot of turnover, and I've said this a million times, whether I'm in a talk somewhere or on the phone with someone when I was coaching a bunch of different businesses, right? No, I can't find any good help. These people are, they don't do their jobs and they're leaving this and that. I'm like, that is so not true. That is not a shared experience across the board.
Right.
This is a you problem. And I know that's hard to hear, but until you can look in the mirror and own first of all, if you can't own it, you can't fix it. If it's always an outside influence's fault, then you have 0 agency over your business or your life. It's always somebody else's fault. Well, great. You're just basically saying it cannot be fixed. This is never my fault. And this could be business or personal, right? Like if it's something that is wrong in your life and you say it's everyone else's fault but yours, you're never going to fix it. You're literally giving all your power to something else, someone, an environment, a market, a perceived thing, whatever that is. And so until you can look in the mirror and say, I have high turnover for employees, this is my fault, whether it's my hiring, the way I treat them, whatever that is, right? So same thing. And if your employees turn over a lot, the clients in that business are like, something right here.
Yeah.
And they're right and they're true. It's true.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's treating them as if they are, treat them as if you are sharing this with them. You're a partner with your team. They're not under you. They're not working under you and you're giving them and you're doing all these things and telling them they have to do A, B, C, D. We're doing this together, and you build this brand for me. We build this together, and you become the face out there, and you go and talk to, the neighboring brands. I mean, the neighboring businesses around here. We build this together. And then it becomes, I make more money, you make more money, we have more you're making people happy.
Especially our business. We talk about it. We had our all hands in meeting that we do each quarter. It's like at least one of the main reasons people get into this business is purpose. So if the why is that compelling, why isn't that driving you to get out in the community? I knocked up a whole video. I didn't end up sending it because when I listened back to it, it sounded really harsh, but it was basically like, I don't understand. You got in the business to change lives, but you're not doing it. You're not doing the thing. So I call BS, right? If you really were passionate about changing lives, you would do the thing necessary to change the lives, but you don't. So I don't believe you, right? It was sort of like, you're not believable. There's people in our brand that are crushing and changing so many lives, but they love the people that work with them and they're on the same team. I tell you what, at the end of the day, what I'm hearing from you, and if I'm not mistaken, is you have to be involved in your business, right? And then you have to be a decent person, but you have to be involved in your business. Did I hear you correctly that Shelf Genie required that you didn't have another job?
Correct. Yeah.
So you had to work your business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think for us, if I'm really honest and I look at it, and we have a few franchisees that have pulled it off, but it's very difficult. This term semi-absentee, right? That is something that Eric Van Horn, who I love, I had him on the podcast, and he said, that is not a right. That's something you earn. And he described it as, I've never seen a semi-absentee business ever. The only way that works is if there's an investor and an operating partner, not an employee, but someone who's vested in the business. They own a portion of it, right? And then you may front the money. That's their job. Think about, in our system, we got Richard and Trey, right? Richard's the money man. He's a great guy. Trey's the operator. He's an amazing operator. Franchisee of the year. Every club they open opens full. The guys are amazing, right? It's but that's the yin and yang that works. The part that gets difficult is if you have a demanding corporate job and you think you're going to open 1, 2, 3 Alloy locations and manage managers while having a full-time job that may have you traveling both domestically and internationally, it's not going to happen. Mm-mm. I'm just going to say it right now. If that's your plan, that 9 times out of 10, unless you hit the lottery and nail the perfect director, which is just, it's a lottery at that point, an absolute unicorn that can work in isolation without you and without ownership, it will not work. Period. And so I think that's maybe a mistake that we made really early on, is being like, sure, if you hire the right people, yeah. But again, those people they want to feel like they're on a team. There's only 3 or 4 of them. If you only have 3 or 4 people, it can be somewhat isolating. Get in there with them, right? I know that a lot of our investors, they may not be able to replace their corporate income with 1 Alloy location.
Of course, yeah.
We'll do 2 or 3, but open them you've got to be well capitalized, right? Open 2 or 3 at a time. Get them rolling. Dive into your business. You can't keep a very demanding 60-hour week day job and run 3 Alloy locations, even if you're just running managers. Do you agree?
I agree. And they come through training, and essentially we're training the trainer, right? The student has to then become the trainer or the teacher. When I'm talking to some franchise owners, if they're not involved, what happens when something happens to your director? Your director hits the lottery and now is living on the beach in Belize. Okay, well, who's stepping in? Because most of the time they don't know what to do. They have no idea.
Yeah,
now they're flailing out there in the water going, oh crap.
You haven't leaned into your business, right? And if there's one thing I can guarantee will happen at some point in your 10 years in the franchise business, hopefully longer, something will happen.
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect.
Someone will get married and move, or someone will get a better job offer. Things just happen.
Yep.
And to your point, what you going to do then? And I think if your answer is, well, I would absolutely panic because I'm on business in Europe. I couldn't do that. I couldn't get back in the business. Don't do it, honestly. And that's a terrible thing to say for sales, for Alloy, but I want people to succeed. I want realistic expectations. So don't do it. So, all right, be involved. Be a servant leader. I know it's an overused term, but hey, get in there, serve your people. They're same team. We're all rowing in the same direction. We have a common goal. Let's go, right?
And then, of course, is our retention. You have to have people in there, right? And keep those people. And then again, it starts at the top again. It's that staff. And that's that commonality that I'm seeing through all the, of course, I'm brand new to this again with Alloy, but I've been working with 25, 30 franchise owners now, and I get to see the pre-sale, I get to see the middle, I get to see the highs. So I'm getting to see all of it. And that one commonality is the staff. So if we're having that staff and we're having the good staff and the staff that actually loves what they do, the retention is going to follow. That's
Right.
going to be the next thing.
So it's literally employee retention leads to client retention, period.
Right. It's just, it all works together. And
There's so many ways to look at this. You could even argue that if you treat your people really well, you're teaching them then how to treat your
other
customers.
people.
It just trickles right down
Yep.
to the end user, right?
Exactly.
Love it. All right. So retention, what else you got?
And then do the thing. Right?
the play.
What are we here for, right? We're here to do the thing. So, as long as you're doing it, that's the other thing. It's like we teach it during training. These are the steps. These work, right? You've been doing it for so long. You wouldn't have franchised this if it wasn't something that actually worked. Follow the play, follow what we're asking you to do. Have the L10, go over do the EOS thing, actually do the things with your team. Because if you're not actually sitting in as an owner on some of your meetings, you have no idea what's happening inside those four walls. And if you don't know what's going on inside those four walls, how do you know that it's running the play the way it should be? And
Right.
that coach, even though that team, basketball, baseball, football, it doesn't matter. They're on the field doing the thing, but the coach is always on the sideline. They're watching it, right? Exactly. So they're watching it and they're fixing it. They're tweaking it. So how are you going to tweak anything or fix anything or make sure that it's being done correctly if you're never even there to see it happening or not happening? So I think that's our biggest thing is you got to do what you bought into. You bought into an Alloy personal training. Do what we say. Do how we're saying to do it. And all the things will, I think, just fall kind of into place. And it's pretty simple, right? We can keep it simple.
Simple, but not easy.
Right. Simple,
Well,
but not easy.
I had Nick Garrity on and they've done some turnarounds. And now you look at what Ken and his director, John, are doing in Austin with an underperforming club from a disengaged owner.
Yeah.
They come in and they're like net 70 people in a couple of months, right? It's like, well, what are you doing? They're like, exactly what we're told to do. Like we're running
following.
the play.
Mhm.
When I asked Nick, he gave me more color around it. I go, what do you mean by that? He's like, well, simple things. Coaches from not showing up on time, not running the workouts correctly, not sending the text messages after. He's like, all the 101 little things, and there's not that many. I say 101, it's probably 7 little things that make a great, successful location. He's like, you've already provided all the things. We just have to do the things. Now, consistently doing the things is difficult. I will admit, it's hard to just keep going. You have to be relentless in your pursuit of doing the things well. But it really is that simple.
It is. Even with these pre-sale clubs, which I think is great for me as a franchise business coach, because I'm starting from, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to measure it. Keep it this way all the time. So every week we're having this call. Did you do these? Did you do these? Did you do the 5? All these things that we've talked about. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. It becomes muscle memory. And it's not something that becomes hard. It becomes normal because that's what I have to do every day. These are just things that happen because this is what we do inside these walls. So it becomes that you don't miss it, because if you do miss it, then it's not going to work. And why are you here in the first place? Keep doing the things that you're supposed to.
It's not like you do it once and then you're like, all right, ready to move on. It's like, how's that work with exercise? Let's just give you a simple example.
Right.
If you only worked out once every 3 years and you did a great workout, you'd be better off doing a moderately intense workout at 30% 3 days a week for the next 3 years, as opposed to crushing yourself once a month or something like that, right?
Exactly.
Very, very similar here. You can't show up sporadically.
Yeah. And I think doing, like what we talk about with our L10s and just, back to the beginning and with I can talk about Kelly Barefoot and Shelf Genie, or I can talk about Nick, or I can talk about John. I can talk about, some of the higher ones that we're talking about. When you talk about them and ask them what they're doing, I could ask them about Josh, their assistant, their director, and say, how many kids does he have? When's his birthday? What's he like to do? What are his goals? They know. I can ask somebody else and be like, so what's the deal with Susie? Is this exciting for her? Does she love this? Is this her life? Is she going to college? What is she, what's her goal? Oh, I'm not really sure. How do we not know our people? We need to know that they have a 3-year goal, a 5-year goal, a 10-year goal. What is it? Do they want to buy a house? Do they want to, be able to have their own home one day? Let's help get them there.
Right.
We're going to help get them there by getting us more members because we're going to make more money. They're going to make more money.
Everybody wins.
But understand what what is a goal for them? Like, understand your people.
Right. I think this is something that John Farkas does really well. And he and I've talked about it. It's like, he's like, man, once he has like a vision sheet that he's built with his wife does a lot of our graphics. Alicia, she's awesome. And so he'll build like a vision sheet that he'll give people in a job interview and say, this is where I'm headed. And he's like, I'm amazed at the level of people that I'm able to attract when I create a big enough vision so that their vision can fit underneath my vision. It's part of it. I'm attracting all kinds of great people. Right. So that may be another tip to think about if you get that feeling like, well, there's just nobody good that's out there. It's like, you're not creating a vision. And if you are, it's not big enough for someone really dynamic for them to fit their vision under your umbrella. It's just not, right? So again, something to think about. All right, so what were the three? We've got employee retention.
Yep, employee retention. Well, your member retention. So having a good staff, loving the staff, exceptional retention, having the retention of your people, and then owner involvement. Just being involved at all aspects of it. Maybe you can be able to have that feeling of, if I do want to go to the beach for a week, I know that my team's got this because they care just as much as I do. Being able to walk away for 5 days, you can. I mean, you can go on vacation if you built the right team. Right. You can't just walk away, because now you're stuck to it. You're stuck to the phone. You're stuck to the computer. You're stuck to your group me's or whatever it is, because you're constantly thinking, oh my God, are they going to show up? Are they going to be late? Are they going to be on time? If you know that you've built the right team and that person cares about those four walls just as much as you do, it's easy to kind of just be able to sit on the beach for a few minutes.
You don't care. I think about these funny examples. I can remember a guy, I don't even remember because it was a long time ago, whether he was in the alloy system or not, but he built out a location. And then he had some kind of a sports car, and it was expensive and, whatever. And I think it's great. Like, you like dope cars? Get one. It's not for me, but whatever. Right. But it would drive it to the location that he owned, right? And he had a day job, by the way. And he would park it like right up front. He'd be all miffed if he didn't get the best parking spot. I'm like, that could be for customers. I'm just saying. It's like, okay, like, I'll park as far away as I can if we're having training, because like, I don't want to take it for franchisees that are here for training. It's like, what are we doing, right? Yeah. Really upset if he couldn't get the front spot right in front of it, so he could keep an eye on it. And then built an office in a location so that he could do his other day job, I'm air quoting, in the gym. And then was literally asking, like, what can we do to like because, the facility footprint was small. It's like, I've got people working out like right outside my office door. So if I open my door, there's like people there. Like, what do I do to like kind of change that around? I'm like, okay, let me get this straight, right? Your main objectives in owning the business are to park in the best spot so you can keep an eye on your sports car. And when you come out of your office, you're upset because your gym has so many people in it at that time that you can't easily just step out of the office and run over to the restroom or whatever.
Or do your other job in your office.
Well, so what can I help you with? And there's always a long story in the front of it. And then it's never going well, but there are a million reasons like, well, I'm doing this pretty good, doing this, and I'm trying this, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, or, it's like a lot of things are happening, but nothing's really happening. And then the $1 million question was always like, well, how's that working for you? It's like, not good at all. I'm like, exactly. Yeah. So we're going to have to like park further away. Don't worry about the people. It's like, it's just goofy stuff. But I think there's folks that are built for leadership and entrepreneurship. And I think it's very gratifying when you can figure it out. We often describe it as a self-help journey disguised as a business, because you have to grow as an individual. You're only going to go as far as you can go, right? Absolutely. But if you can do it, it's pretty awesome, right? So if you're up for it, for sure. But yeah, thank you. I mean, we're so proud to have you on the team. You're awesome. You have great input. We've learned a ton from you and your experience, and we'll continue to do so. So it's early innings, but like, the sky's the limit for you here. Yeah. I mean that.
I love it. I'm excited. And I mean, the only other thing I think I was going to mention, we've talked about it even from the beginning, because you had said something in the beginning about it, but the accountability, right? So it's like, I think you said it perfectly, is, holding your team accountable.
It's the best form of care. Right.
And then you hold just the same thing, like you had said it earlier, is your members. So when we're treating our staff right as an owner, my staff is going to then treat my members right. Same thing with accountability. Hold your team accountable, then your team's going to hold members accountable, which, our accountability sessions are one of the biggest things that make us different from everybody else, right? We want them to come into the gym.
Yes.
We don't want them not to show up.
Exactly.
We want them to come, and we're here to hold them accountable to get them where they want to be. So I guess that was my third-ish one that I wanted to add to that.
It's your bonus. You got a free bonus, folks. Super value. That's what Tammi brings. Extra value. Anyway, thanks for being on.
You're
awesome.
I appreciate it. I love it.
I'll see you in about 5 minutes outside of this office.
Yes, you will.
All right. Cheers, everybody.